We recorded this video to document the train trip between Kandy and Ella. Ella was an area of Sri Lanka high up in the highlands, which the British colonialist tea planters decided was a very fertile and ideal area to grow quality tea, which became internationally renowned for its quality, and it did command high prices and still do today. The train trip itself, we booked first class passengers on 2 separate carriages, and this was fairly reasonably set up, still a little bit crowded, but on the rest of the train it was mayhem. People were standing in the aisles, they were packed in like sardines, and it would have been a very uncomfortable train trip, I should imagine, for the 3 hours that the train took to traverse the actual distance between the destinations. We were picked up when we arrived at the Ella train station, and the guys in the bus drove up separately to pick us up. We used the bus to move around the area, and we went and visited a tea plantation, which we were shown around the actual factory itself, processing the tea leaves, fermenting it, drying it, sifting through it all, and then packaging it. The area was set aside for a big demonstration area, and people could sit and have cups of tea and try all their various different teas. It was very well set up for the tourists, and many tour buses turned up while we were there. The trip itself, I managed to pop the camera and take some video out the window occasionally, but it rained quite heavily for probably about 80% of the trip, so a lot of the shots out the window, it's through a deluge of rain in some situations. Credit must be given to the engineers that engineered the pathway for this rail. It must have been quite an achievement back in the day when they built it to actually get the thing finished, because it rises up through valleys, steep hills, across rivers, and it's elevated probably about 800 or 900 metres above the start point. The area itself, it's quite thick jungle in most of the passage. It's got a clay base. It would have taken a fair bit to stabilise the bits that are built up for the tracks. And the carriages themselves are all probably fairly old still, but reasonably comfortable to sit in. Looking out the window, I couldn't help but wonder about all these small little houses out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of this dense jungle. And I was wondering, what was the situation with the title of these houses? Do they actually have land title? Anyway, I asked the tour guide, Sunja, and he explained that it did cause a bit of a problem when the British colonials arrived, because they were actually just taking land without asking the people that lived there if they could utilise their land. They just took it, and because the locals didn't have paper titles like the British used to have. So they just took it for granted that it was free land. Anyway, this did cause a bit of a rift, and over the years the colonialists did gradually sort it out, and the locals were given their land and titles to the land. The problem with the Tamil Tigers back in the 90s, where they actually wanted to repossess 3/4 of the land, so they had a militia fighting against the then government, trying to get their entitlement, which they thought was theirs. It was quite a sort of nasty situation for a number of years until the government forces overcame the Tigers, and a truce was made after the leader was assassinated. It can be seen that the area is definitely getting higher and higher, because the clouds are now sort of below us, as you can see in these video shots here, and the rain sort of was persisting, so unfortunately the windows got a little bit wet, but you can still see the actual scenery through it. Mind you, sitting on the right side of the train, I felt that the vistas were always a lot nicer on the other side of looking through the other side of the train on the left side. The right side didn't seem to have the scenery as the left side, which seemed to be more dramatic scenery than I was getting out of my window on the right side, unfortunately. Getting towards the end of the trip, the girls decided to do some photo shoots from various angles where they probably shouldn't have been. But Anyway, they did make quite good photos. Here's Doris. And here's the train arriving at our destination, Ella. Ended up getting off there and being picked up by our bus drivers and ferried off to a tea plantation.
Fermentation area, yeah, I love it.
The tea factory machinery was certainly very noisy. It was designed so that the tea could be actually processed. This was a view from our hotel window the next morning. It was a crisp, cool morning, and we had a very nice breakfast, and off we went for some more adventures.